Okay, let's talk about debt. For so many people, it feels less like a financial problem and more like you're standing at the bottom of a giant mountain. It just feels overwhelming, right? So much so that you don't even know where to begin the climb.
And if that feeling, that sense of being totally trapped by a stack of bills, if that sounds familiar, you are not alone. It is the single biggest hurdle for millions of us. But here's an idea. What if getting to the top of that mountain isn't really about the math? What if it's all about your mindset?
This quote right here, it basically reveals the whole secret. The toughest battle in getting out of debt, it isn't a math problem. It's a behavior problem. So if we really want to win, we need a solution that's designed for how we actually behave, not just for what a calculator says is best.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by looking at that psychological debt trap. Then we'll introduce the snowball solution. After that, I'll lay out a simple 4-step blueprint you can use. And finally, we'll compare the snowball method to its biggest rival, the avalanche. Let's dive in.
All right, section 1, the psychological debt trap. Because trust me, the problem is so much more than just the numbers on a page. Just think about it for a second. A mathematically perfect plan might tell you to chip away at some massive debt for, I don't know, years, without a single victory along the way. That is a perfect recipe for burnout. The real enemy here isn't the interest rate. It's that soul-crushing feeling that you're working hard but getting absolutely nowhere.
So, how do we fight that feeling? Well, this is where the snowball solution comes in. It's a strategy built from the ground up specifically for motivation.
Now, the method itself is actually surprisingly simple. You just list all your debts, not by their interest rate, but by how much you owe, from the smallest balance all the way up to the largest. Then you forget the rest, and you focus every single ounce of your energy on absolutely demolishing that smallest debt first. And this is where that snowball name makes so much sense. Once that first little debt is gone, poof! You take the money you were paying on it and you roll it right onto the next smallest debt. All of a sudden, your payment on that second debt is bigger. It starts to gain momentum, getting more and more powerful with every single debt you knock out. Okay, so you get the theory, but how do we actually put this into practice? Let's walk through your 4-step blueprint to get from plan to action. The process is really straightforward, but so powerful. Step 1, list every single debt, smallest balance to largest. Step 2, build a budget to find some extra cash. Step 3, you pay the minimums on everything except for your smallest debt. You throw all that extra cash at it. And finally, step 4, once it's gone, it's time to execute the roll-up. But hold on, before you attack even 1 penny of debt, there's a step 0. You need to save a $1,000 starter emergency fund. This is absolutely non-negotiable. Why? Because life happens. A flat tire, a surprise trip to the vet, those things shouldn't have the power to completely destroy your momentum. This $1,000, it's your firewall. It protects your plan. Now, let's see this in action. Let's say you've got a few debts, and after budgeting, you find an extra $300 a month. You ignore the bigger debts and you attack the smallest, a $450 credit card. With its $25 minimum plus your extra $300, you're now hammering it with $325 a month. In less than 2 months, it's gone. Done. Forever. Can you imagine how good that feels? That is a huge psychological win. And this is where the magic really starts. You take that entire $325 and you add it to the minimum payment of your next target, that $2,000 personal loan. Suddenly, your new snowball payment is a whopping $420 a month. See how fast that power grows? And then, once that personal loan is history, your snowball becomes a full-on avalanche. You roll that $420 onto the final boss, the $8,500 car loan. Your payment is now an incredible $670 a month. That last, biggest debt is just going to melt away. But, the snowball isn't the only game in town. And that brings us to a really critical choice you'll have to make. The snowball versus its main rival, the avalanche. The difference is so simple, but it's also profound. The snowball, as we've seen, prioritizes psychology. It's all about those quick wins by tackling the smallest balance first. The avalanche method, on the other hand,
It ignores the balances completely and focuses on pure math. You tackle the debt with the highest interest rate first, which is designed to save you the most money.
So here's the fundamental trade-off. The avalanche method will save you more money on interest. Period. That's just how math works. But if your highest interest debt is also a huge one, it can feel like a really slow, discouraging grind. The snowball gives you a much, much higher chance of actually sticking with the plan to the end. You just might pay a little more in interest for that motivation. So the real question is, what do you need more?
Ultimately, the entire secret to the snowball's success comes down to the power of the quick win. That first victory, no matter how small it is, it creates this incredibly powerful positive feedback loop. It just fuels your confidence, it strengthens your resolve, and it simplifies your financial life one bill at a time. And hey, this isn't just a nice idea. Behavioral research from top universities backs this up, showing that getting those quick wins is one of the best predictors of who actually becomes debt-free.
So we'll end with a question, and it's for you to answer. On your path to financial freedom, what do you think you need more? The cold, hard efficiency of pure math? Or the unstoppable, powerful momentum of motivation? Because remember, the best plan isn't the one that looks perfect in a spreadsheet. It's the one you'll actually see through to the very end.